My mom showed up to my school cafeteria with a 3-ring binder of coupons from 2019 and held up 40 kids in line for 20 minutes. She argued with the cashier, refused to leave, and I just stood there watching kids film the whole thing. What nobody knew was that I had been quietly and patiently preparing for exactly this moment. So here's the thing about my mom. She has never, not once in her life, paid full price for anything. Not a gallon of milk, not a pair of socks, not apparently her 7th grade daughter's school lunch. My name is Jordan, and I go to Westbrook Middle School, which is exactly the kind of school where social reputation matters and embarrassing moments travel at the speed of an airdrop. I am not the kind of kid who makes scenes. I sit in the 3rd row in Mr. Dalton's 5th period social studies class. I turn my assignments in on time. And I have been quietly, carefully surviving middle school without incident for 2 full years. Notice I said surviving, because surviving requires strategy. So when I tell you that I saw this moment coming like a freight train from a mile away, I need you to understand. I had been watching my mom operate for 12 years. I knew her system. I knew her binder. And I knew the second she texted me at 11:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in March that she was, quote, swinging by to cover your lunch account. Don't worry, I brought supplies. That something was about to happen. I read that text during the passing period between 4th period language arts and 5th period social studies. My stomach dropped all the way to the basement of Westbrook Middle School. Supplies. My mom doesn't bring supplies. My mom brings a laminated index card with the definition of consumer rights on it. My mom brings a coupon binder. And not just any coupon binder. The binder. A 3-ring, 1.5-inch olive green binder she has been maintaining since I was in kindergarten. It has divider tabs. It has plastic sleeve inserts. It is labeled in her handwriting, Savings Portfolio. Like it's a financial document and not a collection of expired Subway promotions. I spent all of 5th period with one eye on Mr. Dalton's PowerPoint about the 3 branches of government and one eye on the door, waiting to feel the disturbance in the universe that would tell me she'd arrived. My knee was bouncing under the desk. I pressed my foot flat to the floor to make it stop. Composure. Stay in composure. I'd been telling myself that for 4 months. At 12:14 p.m., my phone buzzed under my desk. In the parking lot. Be there in 2 mins, I smiled at Mr. Dalton when he looked my way. I nodded along to something about the legislative branch. And quietly, behind that completely normal expression, I ran through every possible version of how the next 20 minutes could go. All the ways it could fall apart. All the places where I'd have to improvise. Here's what you need to understand about the Westbrook Middle Cafeteria at 12:15 p.m. on a Tuesday. It is a war zone of social dynamics. The 7th graders have the long tables by the windows. The 8th graders have the round tables near the vending machines. There is exactly one checkout lane staffed by Ms. Patrice, who has worked that register for 11 years and thought she had seen everything. I got to the cafeteria 30 seconds before my mom did. Grabbed a tray, pizza, chocolate milk, positioned myself 4 people back in the checkout line. Not at the front, not at the back. 4 people back, strategic. Then the cafeteria doors swung open. My mom walked in wearing her Tuesday errands outfit. Jeans, yellow cardigan, reading glasses pushed up on her head, and she was carrying the binder tucked under her arm like a lawyer walking into a courtroom. She spotted me and waved. A big wave, the kind that uses the whole arm. I gave a small nod. Very calm, very controlled. On the outside. Inside, my chest was doing something I can only describe as a sustained emergency. She got in line 8 spots behind me, opened the binder right there in the middle of the cafeteria, and began flipping through it with the focused energy of someone preparing to negotiate a mortgage. The kid next to me, Deja, leaned over and whispered, Jordan, is that your mom? Yep. Is she holding a binder? Mm-hmm. Why does it have tabs? I didn't answer that one. I moved up in line, paid for my lunch with the app on my phone like a normal person, and went and sat at my regular table. I put my back to the checkout counter. Then I opened my phone, propped it against my milk carton, and quietly hit record on the camera facing behind me. Because here's the thing, I had a plan, and the plan required documentation. About 90 seconds after I sat down, I heard Ms. Patrice's voice cut through the noise. Ma'am, I'm sorry, what is this? My mom, cheerful and completely unbothered. It's a coupon for the school lunch program. It should be in the system. This expired in February of 2010. Right, but the product hasn't changed. A hot lunch is a hot lunch. I kept my face pointed at my pizza. I was not making eye contact with anyone. The table next to mine had already gone quiet. Ms. Patrice. Ma'am, school cafeteria coupons aren't even a thing that exists. My mom genuinely puzzled. Then what is this? I think this is a flyer from a Subway. From a Subway in 2010. Boatin? It says lunch special. It says buy 1 foot long, get 150% off. The entire cafeteria went silent. Not fake silent. Actually silent. 43 students, I counted later, had stopped eating and turned to look at the checkout counter. 3 of them had their phones out. I did not turn around. My phone was still recording. My jaw was tight. My mom flipped to a new tab. Okay, if that one's not in the system, let's try this one. This is from the district parent newsletter. That's a school picture order form. The back has a discount code. For school pictures. For school. Patrice took a breath. The kind of breath a person takes when they are using all of their professional training to stay professional. Behind my mom, the line had grown. 15 kids stacked up, trays in hand, watching. I heard someone whisper, is she serious? And someone else say, no cap, that lady has a binder. Deja slid into the seat across from me. She set her tray down, took one look at my face, and said, Jordan, why are you not dying right now? I'm fine, I said. Your mom is arguing about coupons at the register. I know. She just pulled out another one. What does it say? Deja looked over her shoulder. I think it's a Pizza Hut Book It certificate. Classic. Deja turned back to me. She didn't reach for her fork, didn't look at her tray, just looked at me, and her expression wasn't the grinning curiosity I expected. It was something closer to careful. Hey, she said quieter. You doing okay? Like, actually? And that was the question I hadn't prepared for. I had prepared for the incident. I had prepared for the documentation phase, the approach, the pitch. I had not prepared for someone to look straight at me and ask if I was holding up. Yeah, I said. And then, because it was Deja and she would absolutely know if I was lying. I mean, mostly. You don't have to do the calm thing with me, she said. I know. I turned my phone over in my hands. I've been planning this for 4 months. I just need it to work. She nodded slowly. Okay, tell me the plan. I glanced toward the register. My mom was now presenting what appeared to be a handwritten index card. We had a little time. So here is what you need to understand about my mom's coupon situation. It wasn't new. It had been escalating since the beginning of 6th grade. She tried to use a Bed Bath & Beyond coupon at the DMV. Just walked up to the window, presented it confidently, waited. A few months later, she'd attempted to negotiate a first-time customer discount at our pediatrician's office. We had been going there for 12 years. Then came the dry cleaner. She presented a handwritten note that said loyalty discount and simply assumed they'd honor it. Every time I'd been there, every time I'd wanted to disappear through the floor. But somewhere around November, I started noticing something. My mom wasn't embarrassed, not even a little. She wasn't chaotic or careless. She was completely, genuinely convinced she was doing the responsible thing. She researched. She organized. She was, in her own very specific way, trying to take care of us. And that shifted something in me. Instead of dreading the incidents, I started documenting them. Not to embarrass her. I documented them because I had an idea, and the idea needed evidence. Date, location, what happened, how it ended. I filmed 2 incidents on my phone, including a legendary moment at the Kroger self-checkout in January. One audio clip from the pediatrician's office, recorded by accidentally on purpose, leaving my voice memo running. By March, I had a folder called Mom's Greatest Hits. 12 entries, 2 videos, 1 audio clip. I also started asking around. My aunt laughed for 4 minutes straight when I told her, and then said very seriously, "You know she did this at your grandma's grocery store when she was a kid? Your grandma called it coupon hunting. Made a whole game of it." I did not know that. "She's not embarrassing you on purpose," my aunt said. "She thinks it's a skill. Her mom taught it to her like it was something to be proud of." And then the whole picture clicked into place. I also, and this is the part that mattered, spent 3 weeks researching. I found an Etsy shop run by a woman in Minnesota who sold vintage coupon collections to collectors, organized by decade and category. People bought them. For real money. That was when the plan became a plan. The idea wasn't just to show my mom how it looked from outside. That alone would embarrass her. And that wasn't the point. The idea was to show her both things at once. The outside view and what it could become if she channeled it somewhere it actually fit. One without the other doesn't land. They had to happen at the same time. That is genuinely the most patient thing I have ever heard, Deja said. That's the plan, I said. Show her the log. Show her the listing. Make the case. Deja was quiet for a second. Then, what if she doesn't laugh? What if she just gets upset? I opened my mouth to answer. I didn't have one. That was the part I'd been not thinking about for 4 months. The part where the calm strategy required me to be calm, so I just kept moving forward and not looked directly at it. What if my mom saw the log and felt ambushed? What if she thought I'd been collecting evidence against her like I was building a legal case? What if she got quiet in that specific way she gets quiet when she's actually hurt? I don't know, I said. Deja looked at me. You've had this plan for 4 months and you don't know? I know it's the right call. I don't know how she's going to take it. There was a beat. Okay, Deja said. So what do you do if it goes wrong? I talked to her. I explain. I stopped. I don't know. I've never had to argue my mom into seeing something before. She's usually the one doing the arguing. Maybe that's good, Deja said. Maybe she knows how to be argued with. From behind me, I heard Mr. Okonkwo's voice join the conversation at the register. The vice principal had arrived. That meant the window was closing. I stood up. Here goes, I said. Jordan. Deja caught my arm, just for a second. If it goes sideways, you don't have to stick the landing. You just have to stay in the room with her. I looked at her. Stop being wise, I said. It's stressful. She let go. Go. I walked toward the register. I could feel the cafeteria shift. That specific middle school energy when 40-something people realize something is about to happen and go perfectly still. My mom looked over when she heard me coming. Something crossed her face. Not embarrassment exactly. More like she was suddenly aware for the first time that a lot of people were watching. Hey, Bug, she said. I'm just sorting out your account. I know. Can I show you something first? I looked at Mr. Okonkwo. 2 minutes? He looked between us and nodded slowly. Like a man who had no idea what was happening, but had calculated that intervention would make it worse. I pulled up my notes app and handed my mom the phone. She looked down at it. Read the first entry. Her expression didn't change right away. She just read, the way she reads anything, carefully, like she's looking for the fine print. Then she got to the second entry. Her chin moved slightly, a small tightening. What is this? She said, quietly. A log, I said. I've been keeping it since November, every incident. I wrote down what happened, where we were, how it ended. She kept scrolling. Her face was doing something complicated that I couldn't fully read, and that was the part I hadn't prepared for either. Not knowing what she was feeling while she found out I'd been watching her for 4 months. She reached the Kroger entry. I said, there's a video attached to that one. She pressed play. The cafeteria was so quiet I could hear the phone speaker from 2 feet away. My mom's own voice from January, patiently explaining to a self-checkout machine that a 2018 Harris Teeter digital coupon should be transferable between stores in the same parent company. She watched the whole thing. I watched her watch it. I watched her face go from careful reading to something I can only call recognition. The specific look of seeing yourself from outside your own head for the first time. Her jaw shifted. She pressed her lips together. She was quiet for so long that I felt my stomach starting to climb back up toward my throat, and I thought, This is where it goes wrong. This is where she gets hurt. I miscalculated. Mom, I said. I'm thinking, she said. I waited. She looked up from the phone, not at me. At the line behind her. The kids with their trays, Miss Patrice standing at the register, Mr. Okonkwo doing his careful neutral expression. She took a breath. This is embarrassing, she said. I know, I'm sorry, but I need you to look at one more thing. Her eyes came to mine, and for a second I couldn't tell which way it was going to go. She had that expression, the one she gets right before she either laughs or cries. And from the outside, they look almost identical on her face. Please, I said. And then, because Deja had told me to stay in the room, I've been sitting on this for 4 months because I couldn't figure out how to show you without it sounding like an attack. It's not an attack, I promise. Just look at the last thing. She took the phone back. I pulled up the Etsy screenshot. The Minnesota shop. Vintage coupon collections organized by decade and category. Real buyers, real prices, little gold stars next to the reviews. I handed it to her without saying anything. My mom looked at the screen. Her eyes moved. She was reading the listing descriptions, the categories, the way the seller had organized things. By brand, by year, by region. She said very quietly, "These are organized exactly like mine." I know, I said. She calls it a savings portfolio. Another silence. This one different from the last one. Less tense, like something was releasing instead of tightening. My mom looked at her binder. Then at the screen, then at me. People buy these, she said. People buy these, I said. For money. For real money. The 1990s fast food section goes fast, apparently. She looked at the screen for another long moment. Then she made a sound I can only describe as involuntary. A single exhale that was fighting not to become a laugh and losing. Then she lost. It came out of her like something that had been stored under pressure. The real laugh. The one where she has to press her hand to her chest, the one I've heard my whole life. She laughed and looked at the binder and then at the Kroger video, still paused on my phone screen. And she laughed harder. Oh my goodness, she said. Goodness. A Subway footlong coupon. From 2019, I said. I thought it said lunch special. It did, for a footlong. She was still laughing. Miss Patrice, behind the counter, had put down whatever she was holding. Mr. Okonkwo had abandoned the neutral expression entirely and was just watching. Apparently having decided this situation was beyond his jurisdiction. My mom wiped her eyes. She looked at me, really looked at me, and her expression went soft in a way that didn't have a word for it exactly. You've been building a case since November, she said. I prefer to call it research. Your grandmother, she said, would have done the exact same thing to me. I didn't say anything to that, but I filed it away somewhere I'd probably need it later. She tucked the phone under her arm. She reached into her canvas tote bag, pulled out her actual wallet, and added $40 to my lunch account in about 30 seconds. Clean, easy, done. As she was doing it, she leaned down and said in my ear, "When I list the binder, will you help me write the description?" I felt something unknot in my chest, something I hadn't realized had been knotted for 4 months. Yeah, I said. Obviously. She hugged me in the middle of the cafeteria, which was its own kind of embarrassing, but at that point the crowd had mostly gone back to their lunches. I heard someone at a nearby table say, "That's actually kind of wholesome," and someone else say, "Still don't know what just happened." My mom tucked the binder under her arm, waved at Miss Patrice, who waved back with the expression of someone adding this to their permanent memory, and walked back out through the cafeteria doors like she hadn't just created an 11-minute incident in front of a third of Westbrook Middle. Mr. Okonkwo stood next to me for a second. That was an interesting approach. Thank you, I said. I'm still not entirely sure what happened. 2 things at once, I said. Both things had to happen at the same time or it doesn't land right. He nodded slowly, processed that, and walked away. I went back to my table. Deja was watching me from across the room. I sat down. She didn't say anything for a full 5 seconds. Then, "You're not allowed to be that calm under pressure. It's unnatural." I wasn't calm, I said. You saw me not calm. I saw you tell me you didn't know what to do if it went wrong, she said. That's different from actually not being calm. I thought about that. She was right, and I didn't entirely love that she was right. I thought she was going to get hurt, I said. When she was watching the video, there was a second where I couldn't read her face, and I thought I'd done it wrong. But you stayed. I stayed. Deja picked up her fork. Okay, that counts. That night, my mom texted me a link, the Etsy shop. She'd started a listing. Vintage coupon collection, 2010-2022, fully organized, 200+ items. I helped her write the description that evening. We sat at the kitchen table and she described each section while I typed, and she kept stopping to read old coupons out loud and we'd argue about whether expired Harris Teeter digital offer was charming or just sad. And I laughed more than I had in 4 months. The listing sold within a week. $83. She texted me the confirmation in the middle of my second period English class and I had to press my face toward my desk so my teacher wouldn't see me grinning. 3 exclamation points. A coupon emoji I didn't even know existed. And then a second later, a follow-up text that just said, "Your grandma would be obsessed with Etsy." I thought about that all day. About things getting passed down whether you plan for them or not. About my grandma making a game out of something that looked like chaos from the outside. About how my mom had carried that with her for 30-something years and never once thought it needed defending. And how that was either the most confident thing I'd ever seen or the saddest. And how it was probably both. She still coupon hunts. She's not going to stop. But she hasn't shown up at my school since. And she downloaded the lunch account app. The binder is still on the kitchen counter. She started a new one. But this one has a different label. Same handwriting. Same olive green cover. But now it says at the top, in her careful print, "Archive, not for use." Below that, in smaller letters, "For sale purposes only, est value TBD." I stood in the kitchen and read that label for a long time. Some things you fix. Some things you just redirect. And some things you realize were never really broken. They just needed to find the right register. If your mom shows up at school with a savings portfolio, you better already have a plan. Because she is absolutely not leaving without her discount. And honestly, neither am I.